Well, hello everyone and welcome to the Econobox garage. So in this video, I'm just going to give you a tour of our garage and give you a rough history of how we designed it, why we designed it the way we did, and how it's worked out. When we first moved into this house many years ago, all we had out back was a large gravel parking spot. Now I was able to get a lot of work done out there. I did my first engine swap in a Festiva out in that parking spot. But then the time came to get a garage. We always joked it was a next year project for the first 19 years we lived in the house. And when we first started talking about building a garage, one thing we wanted to do was maximize the space in the garage while minimizing the impact on the backyard. We had kids at the time, and now we have grandkids. We wanted to have space back in the back here where we'd have room for a trampoline and for people to play and what have you. And the size we settled on was 14 feet wide and 28 feet long. And it's tucked up within 1 foot of the property line on the wall behind me here. And then because that wall is so close to the property line, it had to have fire guard drywall on it. So I thought, well, if I'm doing that, I may as well insulate it. And then we insulated the whole garage and that. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So what are some of the design things that we looked at in the garage? So one of the things we wanted to do was keep it as economical as possible. So I did up the drawings for it, got all of my permits, got all the necessary permits myself, purchased a garage package from a local supplier. And those of you in the Calgary area will probably remember Totem Building Supplies for their garage packages. So the garage, is, as I mentioned, is 14 feet wide across the back and 28 feet long all the way down here. And I went with 9-foot ceilings and an 8-foot high overhead door, because I wanted to be able to get a small van in or an SUV with some kind of luggage rack on. Another thing we did with that door is I pushed it off to one side. You can see where I've got these shelves here. Those are only 12 inches thick, so which leaves about 3 feet on this side, or 2.5, because I knew I wanted to put some shelving down the one side. And again, with keeping with the economy on this, we did all the formwork for the slab. We're very fortunate to get somebody right at the right time to get the slab done. Family and friends helped put the garage itself up. We got the walls up, the roof on, and the roof shingled over this course of one weekend. And then I kind of puttered away and got all the siding on, got the windows installed. So other areas we save money is the windows. The big one there, and then the skinny one over here. Those were from local window suppliers, what they called a graveyard. So their windows had gone out to a job site. They were not the right size, so they came back in. So I got a really good deal on those. And when we were talking about windows and what have you, another thing we wanted to do is make sure this was nice and bright in here. And I don't know if you can see with this skylight on this side and a skylight up here. So I have 2 skylights in here. So even with the lights off, it's actually quite bright in here on a sunny day. Now, other areas where we save money. All these shelves, these are 12-inch by 36-inch metal shelves. Those are sourced from a Canadian Tire store that had changed out all their racking in their warehouse area. I picked up almost 90 of these shelf units for basically a song. And then I got 3 sheets of 3/8 OSB, cut them in half, cut the little curve out of them, and put these shelves together. Now they are adjustable to a certain degree. You can see in here I've got holes, and that I think I put them every 3 inches, and then just to get things to work in here, I put different holes in. And I can play around with that as a need arise, but that doesn't happen very often. So I've got lots of storage. The shelf is 2 feet wide all the way across the back, or pardon me, all the way across the top. I left room in the one corner here to stack all our tires. And I've actually accumulated a few more. These are an extra set for the Bug Eye. Those are my summer tires for the Festiva. And those are for our daily driver, the Explorer. And those ones on the bottom are actually for one of my boys' cars. Now, the other things that we wanted to do in the garage was make sure it had lots of light. And I've already mentioned the windows and the skylights, but I also put in a number of, initially I put in fluorescent lights, but those have been since changed out to LEDs. So I've got 6 of those on the ceiling, and then there's one just up here over the bench, and then I've just got an auxiliary light here. So I picked those up on sale from Canadian Tire here. Now, along with lighting, one of the other considerations when putting the electrical together was making sure I had lots of plugs that were accessible. I have one on top of the bench here. There's one down under the bench over here, and there's 2 over there. I changed plans a little bit as we went along. I've added higher amperage plug for the compressor and the welder down here. And then down each side, there's 3 plugs. There's on this side, there's one over here you can see. There's one in behind the toolbox. There's one in this bay here that powers up the parts cleaner. There's one tucked in behind the golf clubs here, and I keep that extension cord plugged in all the time. There's another one just down there, and there's another one right here. So I've got lots of spots to grab an extension cord, and the garage is nice and bright. Also repurposed an old ceiling fan in here, and this has been really helpful on the really warm days. I can get some air circulating in here, and actually in the colder days when I have the heater going, it blows any warm air that accumulates up in the attic space, just gets blown down, and it helps keep it keeps the heat circulating when I've got that on, and it keeps the air circulating when it's hot outside. Now the workbench, I built that. So I've got just a couple of shelves in here, so I keep some miscellaneous stuff in here. I've got gaskets and an extra toolbox. There's room underneath for the welder and for the 20-gallon compressor. I got one that was, again, I got that on the compressor on sale for a really good price, and the welder I picked up used off a local buy and sell. Filing cabinet, my brother was actually getting rid of one, so I took it off his hands. So I've got a bunch of manuals and documents and stuff in the top, and then sandpaper, gloves, and some safety gear in here. This is all my electrical, so the heat shrink, soldering iron, wires, connectors, and all that in that drawer. And in the bottom drawer, I've got my power saw, jigsaw, and so basically just some power tools in there. Now, my little pegboard up here, it does need a lot of reorganizing, but I'll get to that at a later date. This shelf in the corner here was initially for hockey gear and what have you, but we ended up keeping that stuff in the house. It was just getting too cold out here. And another initial thing, this area here, in what I now call my mini man cave, is where we would hang our bicycles. But we thought that that wasn't a very good use of the space. So just outside the door here, or just outside here, I built basically a bike shed. So I've got a couple of bikes hanging in there, and we just keep that tarp over it to keep that out of sight and out of mind. And that served its purpose quite well. And to dress this up a bit, again, keeping with economy, it's just some leftover black paint on the wall. And then I used pallet wood that I salvaged to just finish off the wall. Now, the table, again, you can see it's a couple of the shelf units. And a neighbor was throwing away the base that I just modified to raise it up a little bit. Stools have been picked up at thrift stores. The carpet was one we were throwing away. So I've tried to get used stuff wherever I can and do it that way. Now, speaking of power, there's a sub panel here that's run off a 40 amp breaker in the house. At the time the garage was built, I also ran, or pardon, there's 2 runs of Cat 5 and a run of cable from the house as well. I don't really use that now with the way Wi-Fi is, but sometimes I'll just, if I'm running a laptop, I can plug it in directly. I don't have to rely on Wi-Fi for that. Which brings me to the next thing is heat. I don't run the heater all the time, but I do have a 220 volt heater up here. that keeps the chill off quite nicely. And if I'm just doing some work at the bench or working at the table, I have a infrared heater up here, and it's actually mounted on a bit of a turntable. So I can just use the end of a broom handle to flip it around so that if I'm working at the bench, it's aimed there, or if I'm sitting over at the table, I can do that as well. So the nice thing with the 14 by 28, the idea was I could get a vehicle in here, and like even our Ford Explorer, I can get that in here and still have room to work around the workbench. Now, obviously, the bug eye doesn't take up an awful lot of room, but again, that gives me lots of room to move around, spread parts out if I need to. Now, one other thing I've got up on the back of my garage door here is I have a whiteboard. And again, that was a money-saving thing. Somebody down the lane here was throwing out a 4x4 whiteboard. It looked to be in reasonable shape, good enough for the garage. So I cut it in half, and it's screwed directly to the back of the garage door so I don't lose it. It's sort of out of the way, but it's still easily accessible. And in some earlier videos, I showed you my garage reorganization. I've got all my jacks and jack stands all in one side. I've got all my metal bits that I might need and for scrap is all over here. Sporting equipment's all there. A little bit of gardening stuff in this shelf unit here, but again, I covered all that in a previous video, and I'll put a link to that one up above. The walls are all insulated and drywalled, and I wanted to be able to access the attic space for storage. As you can see, there's a bunch of stuff up there, and I do need to fix some of the insulation up, but I put foam insulation between the top cords of the trusses. It leaves an air gap between the top of the insulation and the underside of the sheathing. You can see right up in here, though, where it's slid down a bit, so I do have to do some repairs. So that gives me a bit of insulation in the ceiling, and it also allows me to use the space up here for storage. So it's worked out quite efficiently. Over the years, I did make a few changes. At one point, I did have this area here set up with a chair and a desk and a flat top, thinking I'd use it as a sit-down desk, but I never really did use it. And then I was gifted with this lovely toolbox a few Christmases ago, and it fits in there quite nicely. I think the most fun improvement in the garage has been what I call the mini man cave, and get lots of compliments on that. I've got several chairs in here, and quite often I'll just call it guys in the garage on a Saturday afternoon, and we'll just hang out and talk cars. And so when it comes right down to it, I can get one of the Festivas in here as well as the bug eye. It's a bit of a squeeze at the front, but it does give me room to walk around. I still have access to my table and chairs, and to all the storage and all the tools and what have you. So it works quite well. So that begs the question, do I have a small double garage or a big single? So if you're thinking of building a garage, here are the few tips that I would give you based on my experience. So make sure you've got lots of lighting. Make sure you've got access to lots of plugs. Make sure that your panel and that can handle whatever loads you anticipate using. Make sure you've got lots of windows. I know that some people might be concerned with from the security side of things, but in the years we've had this here, that hasn't been a problem. If you've bought a house that already has a garage, of course, you're a bit limited as to what you can do. But if you're building your own garage, no matter the size, you can accommodate for things like all these shelves down the one side, just offsetting the garage door. Well, thanks for joining me on this little tour of the Econobox Garage. My name is Ian. This is the Econobox Garage. We'll see you next time.